Hello everybody, this is Serpent, and welcome back to another episode in iCraft. Now, it's been a while, or, well, it sort of hasn't, because I did put up some stuff that, that is being published and stuff. I backlogged, that's the word. Now, I've been on vacation is the point. And I've been on vacation for a couple weeks, and it was a lot of fun, but it's been a while since I've actually done any videos, so yeah. Now, what's changed in those weeks? Well, one of the things that's changed is we've updated to 1.13, and 1.13 has come out. Not necessarily in that order. So, yeah, we're 1.13 now, and apparently my chunks are not rendering. That work? Yeah. I know what I'm doing. Don't question me. Okay. So, what? No, we did update. However, ooh, little fishies. Okay, so yeah, we updated. Whoop-de-doo. However, on top of updating, Luke has been very hard at work, changing all the oceans over to 1.13 oceans. So that means we don't have to go thousands and thousands of blocks out. Luke has already done that work for us, and brought the oceans to us. This does mean a small amount of chunk errorage, but I can live with that. It's much better than having to go out and forage for new oceans. However, that's not what I'm going to be talking about this episode. Help. We will be doing some stuff with 1.13 this episode, specifically foraging for coral. Because this episode, I want to build some stuff in my basement. Let's go over here. My elytra are essentially broken, by the way. If you're wondering why I'm ender pearling, I should bring a speed potion. That would be mildly clever. Anyway, yeah, I want coral. And I want the coral because I think it would look good in our block palette of gray and blue. It's sort of gray. I'm not walking very well. It's been a while. Now, I do want to talk about something. I have a plan. Sorry. I just ate dinner. I shouldn't have started recording now, but it's getting late and the internet's gonna shut off pretty soon, because that's how my internet works. No more emotions. Luke, you should have brought the war motions. No. I know that's not how it works. Anyway, I do want to talk about something. Specifically, I want to talk about the vacation. Also, I just realized I only have 2 steak. Smooth. Well, I know one way of fixing that. Yay, cooked mutton. Alright. We do have other things to do than murder sheep brutally. Although apparently, that's the ticket. Oops. I think I just burnt up the steak. Okay, so yeah, I do, believe it or not, have something else I can do other than murder sheep and pigs brutally. I wanted to talk about the vacation, basically. Now, I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of progress, just because I'm still recovering from the 15-hour straight drive that it took to go home from Yellowstone, where I was traveling to. So yeah, I'm still a little bit under the weather because, well, not under the weather. I'm not sick. However, I am very tired because, like I said, it was a 15-hour stinky drive. That's not fun, just in case you were wondering. Might sound fun. Does it have looting? It does. Nice. might sound fun, but it isn't. Get over here, pig. Yeah, so basically, I'm going to talk about stuff while I muddle around it, mostly in my base, although I was hoping for some coral. Building stuff in the basement, and I'll just talk about my my vacation. That'll be an easy way to get back into making videos, and then I'll hopefully be recovered enough to spend some actual time on the next one. But yeah, I'm not up to that at the moment. I'm really tired. I've even had to switch time zones a whole hour. Yeah. Go. I actually moved from going to sleep at going to sleep at, say, I don't know, maybe 1, and getting up at a similar time in the morning, 12. I've moved from that over the course of this whole trip, and now I'm starting to go to bed at 10, get up at 9, 8, something like that. And that's mostly, I mostly have the extraordinarily hot weather to thank for that. Gee whiz, thanks, buddy. Because it would, you'd go to sleep, and it would be frigid. You would, whoa. What? What is this? Dolphin's Grace. Ooh. Ooh. I like this. Alright, I've got an idea. I know I was talking about something, and I'm not anymore, but I have an idea. Okay, so yeah, you'd go to sleep, and you'd get in the sleeping bag, and it's an old thin sleeping bag that doesn't have a whole lot of insulation to it, and it would be 40 degrees in the tent, and I'd wear 2 shirts, 3 sweaters, 3 pairs of socks, and a pair of gloves, and still be cold. And then, as is the way with deserts, the morning, as soon as the little warm sun peaks above the shiny horizon and hits your tent, you're sizzled. Like bacon on a frying pan. Your innards are boiling. No, I'm kidding. But it's really hot. When you wake up, the sun has shone on the tent, and the tent's kept all the warmth in, like a bunch of CO2, and the everything's gone haywire, and you're trying to struggle up out of bed, but you sort of have to get clothes on and stuff, but you have to do that in the tent, and the tent is 400 degrees, and it's all horrible. I had a lot of fun though, trust me. But anyway, let's move on to some more convincing tales of how great it is, or great it was. I do have some. I've got some stories to tell about stuff we did, and particularly stuff we did that's not related to sleeping, because that was one of my least favorite parts. Yeah, so let's see where to start. Ooh, good stuff here. All right, so the drive there was a little bit nasty. I know I said I'd move on to more convincing greatness stuff, but let's wallow around in the muck of bad stuff for a little bit, and then we'll get out and rinse off in the proverbial stream of fun. All right, too poetic. It was. I know it was glorious, but still too poetic. Some people just can't handle it. I've heard. let's yeah. So the drive the drive there. We let's see. We were planning on going through this 15-hour drive over the course of 2 days, and we would stop in a hotel halfway there, and that didn't work out. Basically, there was a lot of traffic the first day, which wasn't nice, but then the second day, having been, of course, delayed by the traffic, we didn't make it to the hotel. So we were stuck outside a Wendy's parking lot, trying to find hotels or something that would be able to keep us, and that didn't work out. So we stopped in a KOA and got out the tents and put them up at 10 o'clock and had cereal for dinner, and then passed out in the tents. But the next day was really fun. So we ended up driving, of course, and we got stuck on a highway, which let's see, I think that was in Idaho, something like that. Oh, okay, black border. Yeah, so we got stuck in Idaho on a highway. We were driving, and we entered the highway from some entrance, and there was a crash, an accident up ahead, and they closed the entrance to the highway behind us, so no one else was coming on. And then people started, after a while, deserting. They would every now and then you would see someone peel off from the crowd and drive down the shoulder of the highway and try and get away. And that was going on fairly consistently every now and then for a little while, until someone got stopped by a police car and got turned back, which was pretty understandable because all throughout that time they were blocking off emergency vehicles that were driving up the shoulder of the road, and you don't really want to block an emergency vehicle from getting to a car accident. That seems pretty dense to me. But yeah, the police put an end to that at some point, and sort of a good thing too. And then that sort of cooled the whole situation down. Not a lot happening for a good 2 hours. We were just sitting in the car there, and eventually a couple people came up the side of the road, and we were told that we could get going. We four-wheelers could go, so we did. And that was that. We sort of just went around. We took an alternate route around the highway and got out. But that was pretty nasty. We got delayed a lot by that. And throughout that, we found a sign that said, check into this or something number on the radio, and we'll tell you some information about what's going on. Yeah, right. There are no incidents in Idaho at this time. No traffic information is being broadcast at this time. So now we've got we sort of just assumed that some high security government nuclear explosive transport had broken down and something had blown up, and they were trying to brainwash everyone and hide the fact that the government messed up. Either that or Idaho. Idaho's covering up all its incidents just so that it looks better than all those other states. Oh, yeah, look at those states. They've got incidents. Oh, look at what we've got. We're incident-free for 40 years. There are no incidents in Idaho. Yeah, so that was kind of funny. We look back and laugh, and had we had we had the chance to laugh then, well, maybe it would have been different. Not sure what that means, but sounds philosophical, so, you know, I'll stick with it. Anyway, so on to stuff that's not quite so depressing. I don't like this. It's unnatural. Chests haven't connected. So yeah, on to stuff. Yeah. How do I want to do this? Not sure that's less depressing, but okay. So let's see. Oh, what did we do once we got there? Well, on the first day we sort of set up the campground, then went to bed, and then we got up. And on the second day, we went around and we took a whole bunch of walks, going to a lot of different falls, waterfalls, brink of the upper falls and brink of the lower falls and base of the lower falls and base of the upper falls, and basically we looked at a whole bunch of stuff that was water related. That was the key part of the first day. And that was a lot of fun. Then we went and took a look at some geyser basins on the next day, and that was also fun. And eventually we we came to a trail that should have been fun to do, but it was really hot and there were a lot of mosquitoes, and then there was a giant herd of bison walking across the trail. So we just kind of decided not to do that walk. We didn't really want to walk through the giant herd of bison. They can have their grass themselves, but thank you very much. We don't have to trot on it. Am I about to be beaten up? Nope, we're good. So, we did go to the upper geyser basin though, at one point. And that's the one that has Old Faithful and Grand Geyser and the Crested Pool, a bunch of other stuff. Castle Geyser. And we went and we were trying to meet up with relatives. That didn't go well. Never saw hide or heel of them. However, we did see some geysers. we saw Old Faithful go off first, and then after that we went over to Grand, and that's Old Faithful. It shoots up every hour and a half, hour and 10 minutes ish, and goes about 180 feet, which is a pretty impressive geyser. And it's pretty famous just because it is so impressive, and then it's also predictable. However, we ended up from there going over to Grand, and we saw that the delay, or the expected time for it to go off, was something pretty soon, plus or minus an hour. So we got there close to the start of the first hour, and it took until the end of the second. So yeah, we were sitting there in the sun for 2 hours, but we eventually decided to back off, and we saw Old Faithful go off again while we were waiting, and then we saw a different geyser called the Bulger, which is pretty close to Grand, and it went off, and that was pretty good. And then as we left Grand went off, and it was very spectacular. It was just as high as Old Faithful, but it lasted for 9 minutes, and it was spraying and spewing constantly. It was very, very cool. You could see a little surging mass in the center, and every now and then it would go pew, 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 and shoot off a spray of water a couple 100 feet in the air. That was very nice. So yeah, there was Grand there, and then let's see. We left Grand, and as we were leaving Grand, Beehive, which is a geyser that doesn't go off often, twice a day-ish, and it's not predictable either. It decided to take that moment to go pew and shoot off 80 feet into the air, and then Old Faithful went off at the same time as Beehive, and then as Old Faithful was sputtering a bit down at its last clinging on to the eruption moments. Then the crested pool, which we were walking by at the time, started bubbling, which is its own version of an eruption. And then 3 geysers at the base of Castle. That they decided to go off, and then Castle was spurting, and Tortoise Pool at the base of Castle decided to bubble and blah at the same time as the other stuff. So basically everything in the park was going haywire. Not everything, but it was pretty impressive. And that's not a very likely occurrence, if you think about it. Once every 14 hours, maybe 1.5 out of 24 hours, Beehive goes off, then Old Faithful's once, maybe 12 times a day, 8 times a day. It's grown more infrequent since last time. But anyway, it's not that frequent. Not a common occurrence, I imagine, to have those 2 guys go off at the same time. So, yeah, that was really fun. That was impressive. And let's see, we moved on from there, and eventually some other story happened that I'll think of while I get some more stairs. Alright, so yeah, I think I was talking about this a little bit, don't quite remember, but I was talking at one point about let's see, yeah, we went on that hike that had a lot of mosquitoes, and there were buffalo, bison, all over the place, and we just decided to give them their trail. However, they were not the only herd on that trip that we saw. There was also another, and that herd of buffalo was pretty close to the road. In fact, it was close enough that one of them had strayed within about 10 feet of the road or so, and people were driving past, and every now and then, well, no, there was this buffalo here, and the road here, and people drove past, and as they drove past, the windows invariably scrolled down, and a couple arms holding a phone or an iPad or a selfie stick or something poked out the window as they drove past. Click, 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 and then they retracted and the car drove on. and then there was a gap in the traffic, sort of, and a motorcyclist came by, and they went, "Ooh, there's a buffalo! Swerve!" Right up close to the buffalo, and then swerved away. And you can be pretty sure that if they didn't have that motorbike beneath them and the confidence that the motorbike drove faster than the buffalo, they probably wouldn't have done that. But yeah, that was pretty funny. This room isn't taking the look I wanted. Well, most of the room is, but the ceiling's kind of What did I do in here? I like the iron trapdoors, but they take iron. Don't have iron. What if I did that? That might look cool. Yeah, that's not bad. It's too flat, but other than that, it's pretty good. Okay, so we did do a lot of other stuff too, in Yellowstone. A lot of other stuff. It was really great, but I'm going to move on from Yellowstone just because I want to fit some other stuff into the video before I stop. Now, on the way back, we did also, well, this is moving on from Yellowstone, obviously. On the way back, we did end up, actually taking a detour to Craters of the Moon. It's another park. Ooh, that was poorly done. Hey, go away. Okay. Yeah, we stopped over in Craters of the Moon, and we had a couple opportunities to go hiking. we were staying there for a couple days, and we ended up going on a couple different hikes. Does that look good? Or should that be black concrete? What is this? Oh, right. Place that, of course. So, does that look good, or should that be black concrete? What does that look like? I think that's too dark. Okay, so yeah, we stopped by in Critters of the Moon, and we had a couple hikes there. So we went to, I think these should be, yeah, okay. We went up a cinder cone, which is a giant pile of little bits of pumice that was sprayed out of a volcano a while back and piled up in a big cone. We walked to the top of that, and that was really cool because because we could see the whole lava flow from there. Critters of the Moon is a giant lava flow over quite a portion of the landscape, and it's pretty neat. But the main part of this view that we were taking a look at was the lava flow, being a liquid at one point, had flattened out the entire area. So there was just a giant smooth, featureless landscape for miles and miles, for as far as you could see, really. I say featureless, but not quite featureless. Every now and then, you would you would see a little patch of land that was just tall enough to have not been submerged by the lava flowing around it, and it's created a little island of vegetation. And the vegetation is actually quite useful because darn it, I thought I was so clever. Yeah, the vegetation is actually quite useful because it's an accurate representation of what this vegetation, this landscape was before humans reached it. It's the lava forms sort of an isolating island around the area, and it's actually quite useful, as I said, for what is it? Naturalist purposes, biological studies, I guess. I'm not quite sure what the proper term is. Anyway, so that's kind of neat. However, we walked up the cinder cone and we had a giant view of that whole landscape. It was flat for a very long time, and oh, that was not well done. It was flat for a very long time, and then so flat, 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 flat. But right here, were just a bunch of random mountains spewing from the ground in a sea of perfect horizontal flatitude. So that was kind of funny. That was weird. And then behind us, of course, the flow eventually ended, and there were also some hills there. But it was just amazing how flat the thing was, and then there were those mountains just poking up. Kind of funny. So we went up the cinder cone that first day, and that was a very nice hike. It didn't take long, and it was gratifying. However, the second day we decided to go into some caves. I think there are 3 caves at Craters of the Moon. There's the Boy Scout Cave, Indian Cave, and Beautiful Cave, or Beauty Cave, or something. 8. How hard is it to press 8 on your keyboard? Pretty hard. So yeah, there were those caves. And we decided to go to Indian Cave first because that was one of the biggest. It was the biggest, in fact. Stretched for a couple hundred feet, or 400 feet maybe? I think it's something like 400. and it was pretty nice inside the cave. So to get to these places, you walk across a big flat lava flow, and it's full of it's cooled. Obviously, it's not lava anymore. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah, you walk across this lava flow, right, and it's pretty flat and windy, and the wind is key. See wasps. Wasps don't like wind. What a glorious thing that is. Just a random fact I thought I'd throw it there. Wasps hate wind. However, inside the cave, there isn't a lot of wind, and wasps like not wind. If you get my meaning. However, they also like sun, so that's good. Now, this combination of wasp preferences ended up working towards the at the entrance of the tunnel. Okay, so the tunnels are lava tubes, old lava tubes that have ceased being active. I would hope so, at least. And basically, there at one point was just a tube, and lava flowed through it. Right. Eventually, the the lava, the eruptions of the volcano and the spewage of lava sort of ceased, and the lava level dropped. So instead of being completely full up of lava, good way. You're not welcome here. Instead of being full up of lava, maybe half, right? So there's a little semicircle that doesn't have lava, and the lava cooled that way. So there's a big tunnel, half full of lava that cooled into rock, and basically it's a semicircle sort of dealio. And that's pretty good. However, you can't really get into that, can you? So every now and then, one of these things collapses slightly, and there's a cave-in or something, and that ends up creating a hole up to the surface that you can get in through. So there's this pile of rubble in a hole, and then the cave stretches from either side of that, really. And in the Indian cave, there are several holes that cover the whole course of this tunnel, and that ends up being a pretty long tunnel, and then there are some ways in. So there's stairs, pile of rubble, and then the tunnel. And in the hole in the entrance to this tunnel, where there are all these rocks, and the sun beats down, and there's no wind. And there are 15 wasps just flying around in a giant cloud in front of us on the stairway, and countless more hiding in the rocks, just waiting to eat at our toes as we step over. So that was a rather nerve-wracking entrance to the cave. I think we had I think it was much less scary being in the cave than getting into it, of course. What am I trying to look for here? Pistons, that's it. So yeah, that was pretty off-putting, I have to admit. So then we leave Indian Cave through this giant cloud of wasps again, of course, naturally, and we end up and I'm down a hole. We end up heading over to some different ones, and we hope they don't have so many wasps. Sure. Keep fantasizing about that, will ya? There are just as many wasps in this next place over. It's the Boy Scout cave, I think, and yeah, that's gonna work. Smooth. Yeah, it's the Boy Scout cave, and it's a tiny entrance, but it proportionally has the same number of wasps as the Indian cave entrance. By the way, the Indian cave was really cool once we got in. It was a good 30 feet across and 15 up from the flat lava, and it was pretty neat. You could see you could see the bumpiness on rocks that had fallen from the ceiling. You could see the little stalactites that were forming, and then clean, just smooth rock where the break was. And if you looked properly, you could even sometimes tell where this rock fell from the ceiling, and that's pretty neat. I had a good time with that. We took a couple pictures, and yeah. But anyway, so we decided to skip this this Boy Scout cave for pretty good reasons. We didn't want to get eaten. Okay, so then we moved on to Beauty Cave, and it was pretty fun. There were no wasps when we went into it because it had a really shallow cave in that led us into the cave, and it was fairly shaded by the way it had caved, so there weren't a lot of wasps hanging around there. There was a couple when we left, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, we got into that one fine, and it was a nice one. We could see a bunch of stuff in it. It's a cave. there wasn't actually a lot of stunning features in caves, but they're really interesting. They've just how they've formed the rock formations, the dripping of water, and all that good stuff. We could see a coating in Beauty Cave. What am I trying to do? It's hard to talk and do this at the same time, I have to admit. So yeah, we had a we could see some coating on the rock that we didn't really understand the origins of. So we thought about it a little, and I came up with we've come up with this idea that we're pretty sure is right. The water dripping from the excuse me, water dripping from the ceiling above, it ended up bringing a couple minerals from the couple minerals from the ceiling. They dripped off or whatever with the water, and then just splattered on top of the rock below and created this cool coating. So that was also interesting. Let's see. I have a distinct thing I want to happen. Boom. Eh. And okay, gotcha. So if I'm not mistaken, yes. Very good. And in fact, let's actually just well, I can't actually do that. Never mind. Basically, we're just going to put a chicken in here as it randomly walks back and forth between those blocks. This door over here will randomly be open or shut, as the case may be. So I was talking about something. Yeah, the cave. I think I finished up there, actually. That's about all I wanted to talk about there. And I think probably we're pretty low on time, so I won't bother talking too much more about the vacation. We did end up taking the 15-hour drive all in one day at the end, which is why I'm pretty knackered at the moment, so sorry about that. Quick video today. However, we did actually make some progress here, though I didn't talk about any of it. Basically, this is going to be one of the rooms. I'll copy it over for every single one of these, and at these at these doors here, we have this this contraption, and a chicken goes in there, walks back and forth, opens the door randomly, and that will provide me with a labyrinth, a shifting labyrinth of doorways and rooms. So that's the design for that. Now this water here, this water is going to be a secret way, a secret way of getting past this this labyrinth, but only for me. No one else will know about this unless they watch my video. So we will have basically a fishing rod. I'll toss the fishing rod in here, or an item, you know, that works too. And the item and or fishing rod, bobber or whatever you call them, they'll drift down here, and I think I might have just wrecked my redstone. Yeah. Yeah, they'll drift down here and trigger the pressure plate. And pressure plate will yeah, I did wreck my redstone. The pressure plate will trigger this redstone here and open the door for us. That's about it. Let's see. Alright, the pressure plate's triggering this block here. And that actually works out great. Nice. Oh wait, no, not quite that one. We actually want this one down here, do we? Yeah, I think so. Alright. I'm constantly just failing here. Okay, I think I've got that right now. Let me out. So yeah, we have this system now, and it's all good. Hopefully it works then. Shut and open. Now we can't throw an item onto that because it's a stone pressure plate. But does it work with fishing rods? That's not something I have any idea about the answer to. Well, fishing rods float. Who'd have thunk it? That does not help me. How do I fix this thing? I'll figure it out some other time. The point is, the answer is no. Well, that's convenient. This is a failure. The point is, it opens when you push this thing. We'll figure out some way of pushing it. In any case, though, that is unfortunately all the time I have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I know we didn't do a whole lot. We did a bit, but not a whole lot. But I had fun doing it, and I'm really tired, so I couldn't spend a whole lot of time on it. So hopefully you enjoyed it anyway, and I shall see you in the next one, where we'll get a bit more work done. Take care. Bye-bye.